My plants are going to have to fend for themselves for a week. Let me show you what I do to prepare them for my absence, and stick around till the end for an update on how they did in this hot weather. In the past, I've relied on my neighbors to come and water my plants while I'm away, but things have definitely become much more complicated with the different setups I've got going on, and the number of plants has increased, so I don't want to burden them with the increased responsibility and the complicated instructions. So let's see what we're dealing with here. I have plants in LECA in a submerged setup and a wick setup. I have plants in soil as well as some water propagations. It's June, so summer here is in full swing. Some of the plants are on the windowsill getting blasted with direct light for about 6 hours a day. Others are on the balcony where it gets pretty hot, and some of them are drying out way too fast. On top of this, I've been dealing with spider mites on a couple of them. I can't see any at the moment, but they can come back with a vengeance if I'm not consistent. This is my poinsettia that I have in LECA. It's very root bound in this small pot, and it's drying out the reservoir super fast, like in 4 days or something. So that'll need a bigger pot. I wouldn't normally repot this right before I'm leaving, but I have a couple of days to see if something goes wrong with it before I leave. So I'm pretty confident that it's going to be fine. Another plant that's been drying way too fast is this particular petunia here. It's a seedling and it's already way too big for this tiny space. So I'll be putting this in a separate pot. This peace lily is already in a low light situation, but is still drinking up the reservoir way too fast. This is because the reservoir is actually kind of small, so I have to think of something else to sit it in while I'm away so that it has a bigger reservoir. Okay, so first off, let's get repotting out of the way. I'm starting with the poinsettia, and as soon as I took it out of the cover pot, I realized I had a problem on my hands because most of the roots had rotted. I'm 100% sure this was due to underwatering, because there were a couple of times I let that reservoir go completely dry, probably even stay dry for at least a day, which caused the roots to desiccate, die, and consequently rot when I added nutrient solution. This is going to make things much more complicated, since I know this plant is absolutely going to get worse before it gets better, and I'm not going to be here for it. But I'm getting rid of all the brown mushy roots and still going for a bigger pot because I'm thinking long term. Pot size with LECA plants is not too big of a deal because the roots have enough aeration in the medium, so they won't rot due to overwatering, unless you actually fill the pot to the top with water, which is not what I'm going to do. I'm still going to fill it slightly higher than normal, but still below the level of existing roots, which were almost non-existent at this point. I'm going to leave it in its usual spot and cross my fingers that it pulls through. Then the petunia seedling. You can see how well rooted it is. It came out like a popsicle out of a mold. This repot was very straightforward. I just put some soil in the bottom of the pot and plop it in and backfill around it. Sometimes I wish I had that tiny soil scoop so I didn't have to use my hands for this and make a giant mess. I didn't even manage to clean this properly when I left. Now that I think about it, I could have used a spoon. I should try that next time. But anyway, I hope that having this plant in a bigger pot will drastically increase the time that the plant stays wet between waterings. When it's ready and watered, I put it out in the common area, making a mental note to ask my neighbors to keep an eye on the plants out there. Now it's time for the dreaded spider mite treatment. For the general population, I'm using my neem oil spray, which is 1 milliliter of neem oil per every 100 milliliters of water that I'm going to need. This time, I'm trying a few drops of peppermint oil as well, which should also act as a deterrent for pests. To the oil concoction, I'm adding an equal amount of dish soap, mixing it, adding it to my spray bottle with a little bit of water, shaking, just so it can dissolve and emulsify, then adding the rest of the water and shaking well again. I take the plants to the bathroom, shower them off because they need it anyway, especially the spider plant, which rarely comes down from the macrame hanger. I take this opportunity to also flush the LECA. Then I spray everything thoroughly, fronts and backs of the leaves, petioles, stems, all the crevices, as well as the top of the substrate and the pots. I'm mostly concentrating on the plants that are in the same room as the alocasias I found the spider mites on, but also treating some other susceptible and/or precious plants in other rooms, such as basically all the plants in the living room and some on the balcony. Then it's time for the main offenders, namely all the plants in the alocasia corner. My bird of paradise and a small basil plant also reside there. I've seen at least one spider mite on most of them, so it's time to bring out the big guns. This is a store-bought spray containing deltamethrin. It attacks the nervous system of insects and only works on contact, not on eggs. And there is a danger of pests developing resistance, so I'm not planning on using this often. And only the plants that I'm sure have spider mites will be getting this treatment. Again, I make sure to spray all parts of the plants until they are fully wet. And since this is a chemical, I turn on the fan in the bathroom and do not breathe it in, although it says it's okay for humans. I'm hoping by combining the natural treatment for prevention with the deltamethrin for the mildly infested plants, I will avoid a full-on infestation happening while I'm gone. I'm leaving early tomorrow morning, and the last thing I do is water everyone. I start with the plants in soil. They're getting just plain water. Then I fill up my water props, and later you'll see me mixing up my hydroponic nutrient solution and going around filling the LECA reservoirs, which I will slightly overfill so they can get through the week. I'm taking some more precautions to make sure plants don't dry out. Putting the seedling tray in the common area for the neighbors to keep an eye on. Giving the peace lily a bowl for a reservoir which holds twice as much water. And I'm filling up this makeshift reservoir as high as I can just to make sure it doesn't dry out. Putting my poinsettias in soil in the prop box because normally they dry out in about 3 days. The prop box will hold in more humidity, which will considerably extend this period. I'm going to leave the lid slightly open to allow for some airflow. Some plants normally living on my windowsills, my pink princess, most of my Hoyas, the herb garden, my purple passion plants and the lemon balm will be taken back from the windows as well. They can handle living in lower light for a week, and I will have peace of mind that they will not dry or overheat while I'm away. And as a final precaution, I'm lowering the exterior shutters in my son's room to reduce direct sun. I'm also cracking the windows slightly to let out excess heat while keeping humidity more stable. So, with the necessary repots, the pest treatment and the watering done, and all the precautionary measures against plants drying out in place, I take a last look at everything and cross my fingers that all will be well. And at 4 a.m., I say goodbye to everyone and head to the airport. See you in a week. I'm finally home after a week. I came in very late last night, around midnight, and I just walked around my home trying to see if any plant was not with me anymore. But I was very surprised that I saw a lot of thirsty plants, but just one casualty, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let's start by the points that we started in the beginning of the video. So first, the pests. I do not see any new pests, any new spider mites on the plants. I don't see anything but just old damage, which is nice. I'm very relieved about that. Then, how many plants dried out too much? I can see here that maybe putting the plants away from the window, for some of them at least, was not enough. Like my purple passion plants, because they're, I think, root bound in these very small pots, and they are just scary dry. The new growth is okay, it's going to bounce back, but I don't think these ones are going to bounce back, the older leaves. But that's okay because the props are doing really well. The other one that really fainted was the Fittonia, and I'm going to lose a few leaves on this as well. The one casualty is my lemon balm. It just didn't make it. I guess it was also the heat, not only drying out, because There's still a bit of moisture, like there's condensation on here, but I guess the plant was just for, oh my gosh. Oh no. No, 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 no. I did not expect this, but this has spider mites. How? It was never in contact with any of those. Okay, this is going straight in the bin. I'm going to have to put B-roll in here. Okay, straight in the bin. Okay, that was unexpected. Now I'm paranoid about the other plants that were in contact with this one, which are, it was here in the middle between the two orchids. I'm going to have to spray them. Okay, never mind. Everything's okay. Everything's fine. So I found spider mites on one plant and it's totally destroyed. The alocasias are looking amazing at the moment. I even have new leaves on them. Some of them are a bit too thirsty, even though I pulled down the blinds halfway. The plants that did the best were the succulents, no surprise there. But also the pothos that I have are doing really well. Going on to the plants I repotted, the poinsettia had a bit of a shock while I was away. I'm guessing the root system was not large enough to sustain all the foliage that it had, so there is a lot of dried up leaves, but on the whole I think the plant is going to bounce back. The petunia is doing amazing. All my plants outside in the common area were also very dry when I came home, and even before I came in through the door I started watering them. My suitcase was just in the hallway and I was watering them, but they are alive and they're okay and flowering as well, so that was pleasant to see. The poinsettias in soil that I put in the plastic container together with the baby pollies are doing amazing. They have not batted an eyelid. They didn't even realize I was away, which I'm so very relieved by. The bowl that I used as a reservoir for my peace lily was completely dry when I came in last night, so I refilled it again today. All the plants are watered, everything is, I'm trying to do some damage control today. The Hoyas, much like the succulents, have done amazing. Nothing to report there, except for the peduncle on my Mathilde seems to be growing, which I'm so excited about that I might just get some Mathilde flowers soon. Maybe not very soon. I know the first flowers take a long while to actually bloom, but that will be something to look forward to. The water on my water props was kind of very low when I came in yesterday, so I topped that off as quickly as possible because I don't want any roots to dry off and me losing the props. I forgot to mention, but I also acquired a ping before I left, and I thought I'd leave it here next to the alocasias because some of them were really ridden with fungus gnats, and it only had about 6 or 7 fungus gnats on the leaves before I left, and now it's covered in them. I hope this plant is happy and well fed here. It's probably going to be kind of overfed with these fungus gnats, but I'm glad it's doing well. I left a little reservoir in this little plastic bowl and it's still damp in there, so I'm just going to use this for now until I find a nice little pot for it. The flowers had dried up, but they were really pretty white flowers, and now it's just got loads of fungus gnats everywhere. This is disgusting. Gross. It's still alive. Is it possible to overfeed a carnivorous plant? All in all, the takeaways. Next time, I will be more diligent in actually pest treating absolutely everything, because when I pest treated before I left, I mainly treated the plants in the same room as the ones I found the spider mites on, and just some that I thought were more of a risk in the other areas, or ones that I really cared about. But the lemon balm was just not on my radar at all, and even one plant can just mess up your whole pest situation. So do not skip on pest treating plants. Lesson learned. Another thing is, probably I will not ever repot any other plants before I leave. Even though I had like 2 days to monitor that plant, it seemed like it was going to bounce back okay, but it lost quite a bit of foliage. So I'll next time just wait until I get back to do the repotting. There was definitely a heat wave while I was away. I could tell by how my plants are looking. Even those I pulled a little bit back from the windows still are very dry and droopy. The second lesson is probably going to be, have a backup plan if it's too hot for someone to come in and look at your plant, just in case. Because the plants with reservoirs were okay. It's the plants in soil, some of them, that would probably have benefited from another watering somewhere in the middle of my vacation. So for next time while I'm away, I might just ask my neighbor to come in and water the plants in soil. So that's it. I still have another short trip to make to go pick up my son from my parents' place. He stayed there with them while I visited my partner in Frankfurt. Oh, and I forgot, there's a little shopping video I made for you. Stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out probably next week, and I'll show you what I got. Otherwise, if you found this video helpful, give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!